Hello and welcome to Jedi Jingle Maker. This is my music channel where I review guitars. I also use those guitars and my musical equipment reviewed on the channel in original music that I post all the time, usually every week. So if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you will be notified as new music comes out. And there are new music all the time. It's just like catching songs from a waterfall. This is the Ibanez RG421PB, Poplar Burl PB. Part of the RG421 level of guitars, which is a low costing, I suppose would be the word. What's the phrase? Doesn't cost much money guitar, but you still can get the feel, I believe, of an RG instrument, but just not at the fit and finish level. You know, certainly nothing close to that, but still you get, I think, a lot of the general nature of it. It's close. You know, it's close. Good enough, maybe in a lot of ways, but this is a, in my opinion, beautiful guitar. Every one is different. That's the cool thing to consider when you look at these guitars. I got mine on Sweetwater, so I saw this beautiful beast and I quite literally just fell in love with it and decided I had to. And then I noticed that it had 6 dots like this in a circle, and just the way it faded into the blue over here. It just seemed like, wow, this is the guitar I need to have. And you can see that the Poplar Burl in the light here, you can see it actually goes into there's texture to the Burl, is the point I'm trying to say. It's not just a flat veneer. Like you can feel these. They raise up. I think that's really cool. Right in here you can feel that Burl, and to me that is just such a cool thing. And to know that yours is a one-of-a-kind, it's another cool thing. Now, of course, this is the wizard neck that Ibanez shred machines, RGs all have. It's a great neck, probably one of the best necks ever created. Flat, speed machine, just a great neck if you're playing, like, I don't know, Eddie Van Halen style stuff like I like to do, or Jimi Hendrix or that kind of stuff. It's a fast neck. It just has that aggressive nature to the way the strings ring on this thing for whatever reason. It helps when you replace the pickups, like I have, with an Alpha and Omega pickup, but this thing is absolutely a screamer Seymour Duncan loaded beast now with high output like you wouldn't believe. It actually gets a weird single coil, even though I don't split them. These are splittable, but I terminated them. I didn't split them. I didn't know how to do that yet, and I may do that in the future, but I don't really see the need to. I like the tones I get out of it now. It's simple enough. It works. But those pickups were a dramatic upgrade. That makes this thing an absolute studio beast. It sounds incredible. The one thing that's been an irritation with me on this has been the tuning stability. It's been a struggle, and it's been a long series of calamities that had befallen this thing, mostly related to this, the nut, which I've had replaced now twice. And the first time I had it was replaced with the kind of string bridge that squared off on the top, up towards the tuning machines. It has a square side. You can see how this has a round side to it. The one that was replaced into it had a square side, and it would not hold tune. It had a weird sound also where the E string, the high E string, was basically muted out, and it didn't like ring. It seemed like it was muffled in some way. So I took it back, and the guy said, all right. And then when he looked into it, he realized, okay, it was the wrong kind of saddle, or the wrong kind of nut that he put in. And he said it should be with this rounded one. He put this in, and now it will hold tune much better than it did, which is a big relief for sure. But I think I've got the mystery solved. I've got these Graphtec saddles down in here too. I really did add a lot of things. I changed the knobs, you know, no big deal, but I like those. They're a lot more accessible. But that's been the story of this guitar. Beyond the fun of playing it, I will say that the ends, the sides of the fretboard were just slightly rough here over the last 2 years, and I did take a small file and just kind of clean them up a little bit. Nothing to complain about. I think that's a good thing to be able to do. You can see that these tuners are not the ones that it came with. These are Goto These are 16-to-1 tuners, closed go-to tuners, and they're very standard. I'll try to leave a link in the description, but the Goto, the hip shot tuners are my favorites to get. Now I've been getting the hip shot open gear 18-to-1 tuners, which I really like locking tuners, so I'll put a link to those too. I'd rather get those than the Goto. More precise, and I like the way they look more. But this neck, this pine neck, is really smooth. It feels great to play. The finish on it is just perfection. And if you look and take a careful look at these tolerances where this neck connects to the body, the tolerances are very good. And I noticed the routing to be very good. Now I've gone ahead and shielded the control cavity, which doesn't do much, to be perfectly honest, and shielded the pickup cavities. That is where you get the noise reduction benefit, is around this, but you're still receiving noise into the pickup, so you're not shielding a guitar to reduce all noise. You're just reducing the noise that basically comes from those directions, and then not even all of that. But it helps a little, and if nothing else, I kind of like doing it. These are great saddles, these Graftech saddles, just simple graphite saddles. I think they look cool in that matte black, but they also work really well. The pots in this thing are those small dime size pots, and they are awesome. So yeah, that's sometimes you hear about, oh, they're the small pots, and I think they're the same thing as a larger pot, to be honest. It's just smaller, because they seem to work very well in this one. And yeah, I've had some larger pots that have failed, and I haven't had these fail. I'm not saying there's a correlation there, but I like the electronics in this thing. Doing pretty well. It was easy for me to rewire this thing. That was the other thing. It's not like some of these guitars, like these Ibanez guitars that you get that have the plug-in electronics. If you don't know how to deal with all that stuff, it gets involved, I would claim. This is just good old-fashioned solder it right in where the old pickup was, and make sure you get a good hot solder, good connection point, and you should be rocking until you have to do some repair. The only thing I would change, but I would change it on all Stratocaster style guitars, would be to have this switch here not where I could, when I'm playing, hit it, because I always hit it. And but yeah, sometimes forward or backwards, or when I'm strumming hard or whatever, I get into it and then I'm like, oh no, I did. So I don't know. Eddie Van Halen put it underneath his pick guard. Sometimes I feel like it would be better to replace it with a push button or something that I couldn't hit. Yeah, because the thing of this is a very impractical way, in my opinion. And many guitarists, like I think Kurt Cobain, used to duct tape it down to the body so it would be in the position he wanted and he couldn't get knocked out. Anyway, that's nothing on this guitar. That's all Strat style guitars with that 5-way, 3-way switch where it's at. For me, it's much better if you put it up and away from the guitar, and that would be more like a Les Paul style where you have the switch up here and you're not hitting it with your hand. You can see even this Lucille copy I have here is down below where you would likely hit it with your strumming hand, below the bridge. But the problem with this is it's not below the bridge, it's right in your aim of your strings. So anyhow, the little things. Look at this one, switch all the way down here, no danger of ever hitting it. This is a great guitar. It cost me about $400 to buy it at the time. I put some add-ons into it. The pickups are certainly $220, $230. Goto tuners are probably another $80. The Graftech saddles are another $50. The knobs, $5. Shielding, $10. Graphite nut, $80 to have it replaced, and I didn't have to pay for it the second time because he kind of admitted it was his error, which was nice. And then that's really all I've changed on it, besides, you know, cleaning it up and intonating it and doing stuff like that, which I suppose has value. But it's a great guitar. Otherwise, I think it's a classic example. Check my RG box, or I might have to go get a very expensive RG, which is still on the table, quite honestly. If you have an RG guitar, tell me what you think about them, how your experience has been. If you're thinking of getting one of these, hopefully this helped you in your decision. One thing I would leave you with in terms of a con of this guitar is I've seen a fair amount of movement of the neck. The neck it's pretty thin, but it seems to move a lot. Now I'm in Florida. Look at that. That's the jungle out there. That's humid, hot Florida. That is 95 degrees, 100% humidity. So it's affected by that, and it moves over the seasons as it gets drier and more humid, drier in the winter, more humid in the summer. And I've had to tweak the truss rod. Now they make it fairly easy to tweak the truss rod because you have this type of cover that you can just put a guitar pick in there and slide it over and then get to the truss rod. So it's not that hard to deal with as guitars go. That's about right. But you know, I would expect a little bit of just, don't be afraid to give the truss rod a quarter turn, you know, and add or give relief, and you know, flatten that neck out. Now I bought one of these. I'll put a link in the description, but the Music Nomad. Yeah, tools. And so the tool allows you to see the flatness of it. You can see if there's bow in it or back bow in it, and then you can adjust the nut. You can adjust the truss rod accordingly to give it the right amount of relief. So you have just a slight amount of relief would be preferable. And then once you get that neck perfect, the idea is to go adjust the saddles. And hopefully you have a radius tool or something to give it the correct radius of this fretboard at the lowest fret. And this lowest fret would probably be, have to look it up, but let's say it's around 12, 14, something like that would be what I would go with. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but you just have one of those little fret key things, and then you can get, oh, it's set, it's about right, or it's not right. It's way off, that's not too good, because then you don't follow the shape of the fretboard and it can create issues. So anyway, but in any event, you're going to raise or lower these to wherever it is that you don't get too much buzz. I get a little buzz on this even, you know, regardless, and I kind of accept it because it's a super low action guitar. I mean, if you look at that, it is like right pinned on the board. It is a super low. As a result, it plays unbelievable. But I tolerate a little bit of buzz in the process because you can't hear it. If you can hear it in the recordings, then I would, in a way that bothered me, I would then repair it. But great guitar. Great guitar. Thumbs up. So what do I give it? Out of 10 stars, what do I give, after owning it for 2 years, what do I give the Ibanez RG421PB Poplar Burl? I give it a 7.5. And the only reason is because of all that I give it any points off is, of course, some of the issues I've had pretty early in adoption, which are the fret sprout, a little bit of that, and having to deal with the neck moving a lot, and tuning issues. The whole thing is kind of difficult to get there in terms of getting a new guitar to where you want it to be. So, you know, I take back some points for that, but I would give it a better than average score. And would I get it again? I would buy it again. I would buy it a second time if that's worth anything, even with the issues, because I like to tinker with guitars and I don't mind dialing them in. Now I have a guitar with this one that is made for my needs, made to be a recording machine that's reliable, and it works great. I love it. And that's a one of a kind. That's my guitar, and I like that process of doing that. So hey, if you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to Jedi Jingle Maker. Turn on notifications so you'll be notified as new music comes out that I make, and new videos. New music making, the gear I use in the videos. Thanks for watching. Jedi Jingle Maker.